Shall we play a game?
Hello everyone! Welcome back. I am gonna play some Kona. This game takes place in northern Quebec. It's sort of a murder mystery. Takes place in the 1970s, if I remember correctly. I only played a little bit of this a while back when it first came out. Now I'm just gonna play a little bit of it right now. I rather like this game. It's autumn time, this time of year. Things are getting cold. Starting to get a bit, well, where I live anyway, it's getting a little chilly out in this neck of the woods. All right, northern Quebec, October 1970.
That is to say that
Carl
ever since he returned
Falbert.
from Korea, after having served with the armed forces, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William
Montreal.
Hamilton, a rich industrialist,
I love going to
got in
Montreal.
touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue.
It's. I mean,
Not worth hiring a
I know. I'm
private
sure there are people who
just so
live
he can
there
drive for
that will
hours
scoff
on
at
rough
me,
roads.
saying how much I
But
like
that's how
going
it
there,
had
but
always been.
I do.
The
I like
client
it.
pays,
It's a.
Carl gets it done.
I mean, it's kind of cliche to say, but the old town or the old section of Montreal is like a little. It is like a little bit of Europe, in North America. It's nice going there. I like the old cobblestone streets. Don't necessarily enjoy driving on them. It's can be back-breaking depending on the vehicle you're driving, but they're tight. They're tight little roads compared to a lot of other places, but it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've been there in the winter and in the spring and in the autumn, and every time it was fantastic.
But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely
The
and
public
drive
transportation system, if that is of interest to you, was fantastic. We the last time we went with a family with all four of us, and we for the metro we got a day pass that was basically it got us on the bus, got us on the metro. Oh, sorry, that's just a flyer for this little town in northern Quebec. Let's see. Yeah, so you buy pass. I think for all four of us, the kids were free because they were young then. It was $30 if I remember right. So that was $30 for a number of days, and yeah, we could hop on and off. And combined with like Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever, you could basically get anywhere you wanted to in and around Montreal. So we took that all the time. It was great. We had a blast. Climbed up Montreal in my terrible Quebec accent. Alright, so I think we got everything that we need here. All we got to do is clip the gates. See why we can't write a little note and leave it under the rock.
Hamilton never mentioned
The next
a road
traveler.
blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long
What?
enough for someone to come and raise it. Still not a soul in sight. There was no point in waiting any longer. Carl had to figure this one out by himself. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business.
Let's go visit Billy
Hamilton
Hamilton.
enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here. The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others, an aging Englishman who would do anything to further his fortunes. And hated him enough to go on about.
You know, so I can't say for the rest of Quebec, because sadly I've really only been to Montreal, but I know there is a bit of divide for international viewers between Quebec and the Acadians and the rest of English-speaking Canada. But in Montreal, you know what? I never really felt it. I mean, it's kind of like anywhere. You try to speak the language a little bit, and people will give you some leeway, and they'll speak English with you. If your French isn't the greatest, as mine isn't. Oh, car! Oh, jeez, Louise! Crash-a-boo. All right. Let's see if we survived this accident terrible. My French is, like I said, my French is terrible. It was. I'm a bit saddened how terrible it is, and I know I could go to French classes. It's a matter of finding the time or making the time. But when I was a kid, when I took French, we took it in grade school. We started in grade 5 with French classes. My French teacher for grade 5 to 8, she was fabulous, and and she was gorgeous and had a cute accent, and a buddy of mine and I would volunteer to stay after class and clean the brushes and help her tidy up because we both thought she was gorgeous. So that part of French class, that actually went really well, unsurprisingly. We were keen to impress, and so I generally I did pretty well in grade school French, and then I got to picture. All right. Okay, fair enough. So did pretty well in French in grade school, but when I got to high school, so I went to Catholic school. These were both Catholic schools. When I got to high school, I had an old French Catholic nun as my teacher, and let me tell you, it did not help. I was from that. She was a harsh teacher. I'm sure she was not I mean, she's a nun. How bad can she be, really? But she should not, teaching was not her forte. So I was less than keen to continue taking French. So had French in high school, did not enjoy it as much. Basically, you had to complete grade 9 French, and that was it. Once you completed grade 9 French, you didn't have to take it any longer. Which, I mean, there was a lot to pack in high school. They wanted to teach us quite a bit. So, but at the same time, we're, a country with 2 official languages. Maybe more official languages by now. I wouldn't be surprised if they made native or Aboriginal languages part of the quilt of languages that we have in Canada. Yeah, so I basically after grade 9 French, I bailed out of it. I didn't want to take it anymore because I didn't enjoy it, which was sad. And so my French has become terrible. When somebody's speaking it, if they're speaking it conversationally to somebody else, I can sometimes kind of pick up what they're talking about. But I really like to have a conversation or to participate in a conversation would be really rough, which again I agree is kind of sad. So anyway, I would love to take French lessons, and you know what, now that I'm talking about it, maybe I really should. I mean, I enjoy learning other languages. So Vanessa and I, there was a time where we lived in Switzerland, and part of living there and being there is we lived in the German part of Switzerland. So we had to take German, French, or Swiss German lessons. Well, actually, I shouldn't say Swiss German. We had to take German lessons, and they were, it was High German, so proper spoken German. And I really enjoyed it. I liked being immersed in the language. Having to use it, when you go out, you want to participate in society in any way, having to use the language really goes a long, long way in your enjoyment of learning it. Having to go to, well, for me anyway, having to go to a class, so I still went to German classes, and they still did come in handy. I learned a lot about the language and how to use it, and even speaking, having other people there who were wanting to or had to learn it, as part of their job or whatever they were doing. Having other people to learn with like that from all different kinds of cultures and backgrounds was interesting. Depending on another student's native, I found anyway. Other students, depending on what their native language would be or might have been, they approach learning German differently based on the grammar rules and the mechanics of their own language compared to the English is my main language, so there was certain ways I would try to understand and little tricks I would try in order to understand German. So anyway, it sparked the love of it. I really enjoyed languages. But it's finding the time to learn. I would also love to learn sign language. I find the idea of having like sign language incredibly interesting. Like using physical gestures as a forms of communication is interesting, and the way it's built up and the grammar about it, like I find that very interesting. But it's finding the time. Anyway, I'll cut it off here. We'll talk to you next. We'll see you next time. I'll ramble about something else, and we'll enter the general store to meet our employer, old Billy. All right, ciao.